You've been listening to Peg by Steely Dan. Before that, you heard Aqualung by Jethro Tull. Before that was Peg by Steely Dan. And before that was Aqualung by Jethro Tull. And starting off the hour block was Peg by Steely Dan. You've been listening to Overnights with your host, Don Valley. You're on 108.9 The Hawk. I'm Don Valley, and usually the show is from midnight to 5 a.m., the overnight slot. And that is a legendary slot in local radio, in the radio industry. It is a slot that still carries the torch of radio culture. Freeform rock and roll radio with Don Valley. Overnights, midnight to 5 a.m., you may be looking at your clock wondering, well, it's 6 a.m. Was there a time change? I've got news for you. You probably pieced it together. There was actually a little bit of a snafu with the feed coming in from the news program over at 8888 News Radio. And so I am a veteran radio broadcaster of 55 years and have absolutely no problem flipping the switch to Steely Dan and Aqualung by Jethro Tull over and over and over again until the next program is ready to broadcast. And so we brought it up to one extra hour here in the overnight show, usually midnight to 5 a.m. That's a 5-hour program. Many people are asleep, but the worshipers of the moon, they're out. Oh, yes, the Seleniacs look at the sky and they dance to a little rock and roll. Well, this sounds like I normally would be going into another song here. But as you can see, it's now 6:02 a.m. and I can see these guys bursting at the seams in the morning radio room. You can see them right through the glass here. How we're going to turn it over to the Whisp and Geoff show here on 108.9 The Hawk. Whisp, Geoff, you guys are up early.
We are up early, Don. Hey, we're going to do the open. You want to hang out with us, talk a little this morning? It's wonderful to have. You know, I'm a legend. You're a legend.
I'm in the presence of two legends.
See, that's how it really works, and it's really good. I mean, you want to hang out for a little bit? We'll talk a little rock and roll.
Amazing that happens when a radio legend gets to hear the new up-and-comers declare themselves to be the radio legends. Guys, it would be an honor. Normally, yes. I'd be halfway on my way to the Big Badger Diner.
Oh, my God.
My dinner, everybody else's breakfast, because I work the overnights, midnight to 5 a.m.
100%. That's it's like a reverse commute for eating, if you know what I mean.
Well, we are the afternoon drive programming for people who might be out there with the work of the long hours.
Oh yeah,
long nights, impossible hours, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Heroes.
Don Valley overnight, midnight to 5 a.m.
Don, we're going to throw it open so people know it's officially the Geoff and Whisp show, and we're going to keep chatting with you right here.
It's all yours. It's all yours, boys. Take it over. This has been Don Valley Midnights, overnight to midnight to 5 a.m. One extra hour today. Turning it over now to the morning guys who I normally would never interact with.
We have never spoken before. Scotty's going to talk to you
of a meatloaf sandwich left behind of someone eating dinner for breakfast.
We're like, Valley's been here. Valley has been here. We're going to put you in the green room with Scotty for just a second. We'll bring you back in and have Don Valley on the Geoff and Whisp show in 1 second. But guys, let's do the open. Broadcasting live from the Rock and Roll RV, making this the only show you can hear and smell.
You smell something?
The Geoff and Whisp show, mornings on 108.9 The Hawk. Good morning, Valverde. It is the Geoff and Whisp show, 108.9 The Hawk.
Good morning, Valverde.
Oh my God. Someone's been watching Good Morning Valverde this morning.
Oh my God. The sequel to Good Morning Vietnam was on loop on the Good Morning Valverde network station on Tubi. And that
is a fast channel station that Channel 8 puts up. It's fantastic. And my God, Don Valley, we're going to bring him back in 1 second. What a legend. What a goddamn legend.
What a goddamn legend.
I love driving into the station in my convertible. I get Aqualung.
Of course.
I get Peg. And then I'm like, you know what? I could use
another
Aqualung again.
My God.
Aqualung again hits me. Another Peg. I mean, not
a sequel. It's not a sequel to Aqualung.
It's not a sequel.
It's not like a new version. It's not like the Unforgiven 2 or 3 or 4. This is no, this is the original here, baby.
I'm just sitting in my car going. Oh, what a good time. That loops, Scotty. Scotty, our producer behind the glass there. And holy shit, we're doing it here on the Geoff and Whisp show. Throw the delay. Man, so much going on, Geoff. Oh, my God. We have a new program director. I don't know if you saw him coming into the studio this morning.
I saw him. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Randall Zimmern. I hired him because I want to focus more on the fun, Geoff. This is the fun. I'm paying for the radio station. This is the fun. Now, listeners may know of Randall Zimmern because he did the afternoon shows at 105.3 The Dirty Flag in Valdosta, Georgia. He was at 96.9 It's Buzzard Time in Vancouver, Washington. He was at 99.1 The Sunken Pontoon Boat at Lake Vaccamas, North Carolina. And, of course, everyone loved him when he was on NPR for just a brief moment at 88.1 Fort Pumper Public Radio. That's in Fort Pumper, Virginia.
We all know it. You don't even need to explain it.
I don't even need to say it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I'm a little nervous. See, here's the thing. I've been doing radio.
We're walking through the valley. We're about to walk through the valley.
Over 40 years. I've been doing radio. I did it in New York City. Yeah. Now I'm back here in smelly Val Verde.
Stinky.
And to have Don Valley lead us in. Holy Christ.
I can't.
Holy Christ.
I don't feel any stress when we're being led in by 8888.
Oh,
I'll tell you that right now.
Morons.
Bunch of idiots over there telling us the news, quote unquote. I'll tell you the news. I'm ready for our show to start, but now, I'm shaking in my boots.
I am shaking in my boots, but I can't shake too long because, ladies and gentlemen, it is Hawk Tua for Tuesday Day. That means 2 of your favorite classic rock songs in a row that have been scheduled by, you guessed it, the Hawk Tua girl. And let me warn you, it's pretty much nothing but newer Aerosmith songs. So we got a block coming up this hour that is just falling in love is so hard on the knees twice.
I haven't heard this much Pink since the album came out. I mean, she loves that song.
She loves Pink. She loves Jaded. She loves all the Aerosmith. You don't. Hawk Tua girl. I do have to legally say that is TWOA. Not
just legal.
T the other way. She's already taken down a lot of T-shirt shops on Verde Bay. So, get ready for
Rest
that.
in Power bootleg T-shirt stores.
Oh, we're going to bring Don Valley in 1 second, but I do have to say who's paying these bills right here besides me. Of course, the Geoff and Whisp show is brought to you by the fine folks at Sharnie's. Sharnie's now with 113 buffets at every location. Corn dogs, hot dogs, bourbon steak, mac and cheese you can swim in. And every location has 18 salad bars with no repeats. That's for you, Geoff. You know Ma Sharnie knows how to do it at Sharnie's with 27 locations in Val Verde alone and in Val Verde East. No one eats for free at Sharnie's.
No one eats for free at Sharnie's.
I tell you, I'd be pooping iceberg lettuce if it wasn't for Ma Sharnie.
Do you really have to say that? We got Don Valley coming back.
No,
in.
you
You're
actually
gonna say
asked
you're gonna be
legally.
pooping
I have
lettuce?
to. Ma Sharnie told me that legally I have to say that now. Every time the buffets and the salad bars are brought up. Sucks for us.
That you're pooping lettuce.
That I'm pooping iceberg lettuce.
Because it's for you.
Yes.
Great. All right. Scotty, open the door. Let's bring Don back in here. I want to talk to him before, of course, he gets over to his dinner night. I know, Don, you're going to go over to the Big Beaver diner. But, have you thought about maybe hitting up a Sharnie's? They are paying the bills here on the station,
They could be the morning show bills. But I'll tell you what pays the bills for the overnight, midnight to 5 a.m. time slot. And that has always been people who are up late. And that is the bedrock of Val Verde and every other market we play in. And I've played in a lot of markets. I was hearing you run off some of the markets you played in. Yeah. And for me, it's the listeners. And some of them, you get your sponsors in morning radio. In lieu of sponsors, what we get in the overnight slot. Let me tell you something about the way overnight radio works, because I used to work in afternoon drive. And there was a few years I did in morning radio as well. And you're driven by the bits, you're driven by the sponsors, you're driven by the commute. You got to stop for traffic on the 7s and the 12s.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, nothing's going on midnight to 5 a.m. except that's when America dreams.
Oh my
God. That's when America dreams. Now, if you're one of the internet listeners over in Belgium or Denmark, maybe it's that is the afternoon drive for you. And I gotta keep that in the back pocket the whole time.
Yeah. You don't want them to fall asleep on the little Belgian roads that they're doing. These
guys got to hop on there. They got a Eurorail commute, and we're not giving them a courtesy of a traffic report because we know the trains run on time. So what we're going to give them is
there it is.
Hot selection, whether it's Steely Dan, whether it's Jethro Tull, and it's that heartbeat. It's that heartbeat of Valverde. Yes. It's that lunatic overnight, and the
lunatic fringe, as you might say, Don Valley.
We wear it as a badge of honor over here in the midnight to 5 a.m. overnight time slot. But I like to think of it as a crowning achievement, a King Lear performance of a radio veteran, if you would.
Oh my God.
To handle that hard rock soft landing in the midnight to 5 a.m. time slot, the overnight with Don Valley.
Yeah.
I had my experience afternoon drive at the Gaslight 89.5 in San Diego.
Oh, good station, good rock all the time.
It was good rock all the time. And I did the morning show at the Tap Out in Orlando for many years, from the 90s to the 2000s and beyond. And that was in Orlando, Florida, 108.8, the Tap Out. And I have a career going back decades. In fact, we highlighted many of those decades on a program on a station that's no longer with us here in the Valverde market. It was the Hit Parade AM 1130.
Oh my God!
Where we were proud to play the hits of the 80s, 90s, and beyond.
Oh my God! And
also some of the deep cuts of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and below.
When you would get into the C-sides of the 50s,
that wasn't
when it really worked.
And I tell you, I wasn't done. We even got into some of the obscure wax cylinder tracks from the 40s, 30s, 20s, and before.
Hello, my baby.
Hit Parade AM 1130. You know what I'm talking about?
Hello, my darling. Hello, my sunshine gal. Now, you were, if I remember correctly, about AM 1130, the Hit Parade, you were the only one that made it out of the station alive when the fire started.
That's right. God rest their souls. There was a unrelated contract dispute that happened, of course, and that was over in the east side, near the college campus, unaffiliated, with a bit of a bitter rivalry between the two, the college campus and the Hit Parade radio station. Yeah, and there was a contract dispute, as it happens. As you know, the radio can be a rough business.
There
was an unrelated doors locked fire that broke out. And it was right after my shift, of course. It was right after the overnight, midnight to 5 a.m. shift that they had just switched me over to.
Oh, my God. So you're saying Jim Slibman he's going in, you're going out, and then the door just locked?
Jim Slibman was a friend of mine. He was a fantastic broadcaster.
God, he was.
He was a slippery man, and I think the reputation came with his stage name. I'm sorry to report to any Slibman fans out there, it was a stage name. It wasn't Slidman. He liked to make it sound like he was slick, like he could get away with anything. But I tell you, with that locked door fire that broke out that morning, that early morning, that madrugada over at the Hit Parade over on AM 1130, he slipped his last. He tried to slip through that, but you can't slip through the bottom of the door when there's smoke pouring out of it, as you know.
That's a t-shirt.
Especially when the wax cylinders get on fire. Once those start going, the fire just burns. It just kept going. There was no chance for Slidman.
No chance for Slidman. And
they learned that. They learned that for preservation of radio history, some of those wax cylinders, some of those old 78s, they got to be in a concrete bunker somewhere.
You got to put them in a concrete bunker. I'm saying that all the time to Scotty about our CDs in here. Just put them in a concrete bunker. Scotty, our producer behind the glass.
You're fine putting them in a flip book. I have two daughters, both Generation X, and they get those flip book CD things where you flop them up on your lap. And I swear to God,
Case Logic.
Oh my God, Case
That's the brand
Logic.
Right there. The
there
brand plug.
Oh
Jeff comes in. Jeff Garlic, hot with the brand plug right there.
Well, we are sponsored, of course, by Case Logic.
Case Logic,
the only CD holding facility that still exists. And we are sponsored, and we appreciate them.
Technological innovation that never would have flown in the days of vinyl.
Oh, please. I'm going to carry around a big thing with 4 records on each page. Doubling up some of them. Am I crazy? It is a generation I never understood. Generation
There were some
X.
sound innovators from Toronto over in Ontario that sent one of those down to me you could hold 6 vinyl albums in a page and flop it down. And I tell you, I flopped it 3 times and the damn thing fell out the window.
There goes my copy of Thick as a Brick.
And how are you going to look at the goddamn newspaper and thick as a brick in that sort of
How are you going to look
That's
at the
insane.
goddamn newspaper in Jethro Tull's thick as a brick if you're putting it in a case? I don't understand it. Don, hang out for us. We do have to send our signal over to a man you know well, our traffic director aficionado, the man, the myth himself. It is Art Spart.
108.9 The Hawk Traffic with Art Spart.
Wow! God damn it. It happened again, people. The latest rebuild of Lasagna Junction has caved in on itself again. Now, these goddamn glorious morons. Of course, Lasagna Junction is the overpass where the 422 goes over the 823, over Soundgarden Boulevard, over Randy Bachman Turnpike, and over Mick Jones from The Clash, not from Foreigner Avenue, over to Ugly Kid Joe Way, over the 313, over Butthole Surfers Way. And the Val Verde Department of Transportation just keeps putting it back up in the exact same place every time. And just like lasagna, the levels compress right in on each other, making Valverdeans both the ricotta and the sauce. Rest in delicious power. So because of this, you can expect gridlock, Valverde. We're looking at backups on the 422, the 823, Soundgarden Boulevard, Randy Bachman Turnpike, Mick Jones from The Clash and not from Foreigner Avenue, Ugly Kid Joe Way, 313, and on heading out to Butthole Surfers Way. Now, most of these roads are what you would take if you were heading out to the grand opening of Blackwater Water Park, the new extreme water park opened by a reunited Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald. But you can't. Maybe you should keep on rolling over to Call Me the Breeze Road as an alternate. And yep, there they go. I'm watching the webcam right now, and they're putting the damn thing back up. And there it goes again! Will we ever learn? Will we ever learn? From the Bert's Funeral Flowers traffic desk, I'm Art Spart on 108.9 The Hawk.
With Bert's Funeral Flowers, with Bert's Funeral Flowers.
All right, we'll have more with the great Don Valley coming up here. And rest in power, everybody over there at Lasagna Junction again.
I can't wait to get over to that Blackwater Water Park, though.
Oh, my God. It's going to be a blast. It is going to be...
little sunlight in a dark, cloudy storm.
You know, you get in those really tall ones where you have to, like, put your arms together and your feet crossed over, and then somebody presses the button. Do you know who presses the button?
I'm
Jeff
guess.
Skunk Baxter from the Doobie Brothers. He hits the button, sloom, you're gone. Will you live? I don't know. You might.
The rocket scientist himself.
And we'll be back. Oh, Canada, it's Rush.
Ants. They're everywhere in Valverde. Sometimes you can't even get into your automobile without seeing a big damn ant right behind your steering wheel. But not on my watch. Hi, I'm legendary acoustic rocker Dave Matthews. And when the Dave Matthews Band aren't on the road, I'm right here in Valverde, bringing war to these goddamn ants. How do I do it? Well, let me sing it at you. You wake in the morning, covered in big ant bites and calling Dave Matthews to kill them all. Crawling under your table and shooting. Take these ant traps, place them in the places where the ants like to hide. One touch, the ants all die. Dave Matthews approaches the ants with a big gun he made to kill ants. Probably illegal in Valverde, but one shot, two shot, ants dead on your fence and in your attic. Ants die, die, die. And that's how it's done at Dave Matthews Pest Removal.
All your favorites and a lot of your lesser favorites. 108.9 The Hawk.
She's a photographer trying to balance her need for new clients and her hunger for passion. In the movie you remember as a classic erotic thriller. But now that you watch it as an adult, you're like, wait a second. Was I basically just watching a porno? I thought that this had the tropes of a film noir, but my God, there are a lot of sex scenes, and are those real porno actors? Shannon Tweed, Andrew Stevens, Peter North, and Christy Canyon in the heavily edited for television classic Soft Focus. On the Channel 8 erotic late night block of movies, the Erotic Block. On Channel 8, your home for great shit.
Hi, I'm Chief Medical Person Michelle Sally Dabbs, and I would like to thank you for all of your kind messages and well wishes after my recent wolf attack. Yep, I was walking alone through Slayer Gulch and 14 wolves pounced, and well, I could have been their complete meal had I not gotten immediate medical assistance. EMTs were there in seconds, and I was rolled right into the hospital where a warm bed was waiting for me. They did my MRI at my bed and found I was full of 82 ooey gooey wolf teeth. At any other hospital, that would have been a death sentence. Don't I know it? From there, I was operated on by a robot doctor and I was saved. Oh no, not at Valverde Memorial Hospital. Are you kidding? Please, this all took place at Valverde General. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't come to Valverde Memorial for all your medical needs. Look, we know we probably can't remove any wolf teeth quickly, but we will give you a sucker for your pain.
Valverde Memorial Hospital. We'll give you a sucker for your pain.
Slow ride, take it easy. By request here on 108.9 The Hawk. Of course, we had to play 2 Foghat songs in a row there because it is Hawk Tua for Tuesday on 108.9 The Hawk because we need the money. And there's really nothing else we can do about that. And
no idea that the Hawk Tua girl was such a big Foghat fan.
I had no idea, but we do have to play this whenever we play a Hawk Tua for Tuesday on 108.9 The Hawk. Here it comes.
This is 108.9 The Hawk Tua girl, and it's Hawk Tua for Tuesday right here on 108.9 The Hawk.
I cannot believe she did that. I cannot believe she did that.
I can't believe it.
Especially in front of Don Valley. You're going to do the Hawk. Unbelievable. Have some fucking class.
She deserves everything, though. She deserves everything.
I want her to have everything
she
in the
deserves
world.
it all.
I want her to have everything in the world.
Everything in the world, Hawk Tua girl.
Oh, Don Valley, you've done so much in radio. It's just, I mean, to have you as a guest this morning that we didn't even expect. We bumped Skeet Ulrich. Skeet Ulrich was coming in here. We bumped him. We said, not this hour, Skeet.
Skeet was like, I was going to talk about overnight radio. And I was like, what do you know about overnight radio?
I don't know dick about overnight radio.
Jesus Christ.
Go hang out with Lillard.
Well, let me tell you something, guys. Wisp, let me tell you something, Jeff. Overnight radio is a flame to which the moths are attracted. Oh. And if you're one of the few bright lights in the overnight time period, the time slot between midnight and 5 a.m.
Yep.
When the city sleeps.
We went all
But when there is an occasional light on the porch of a cottage.
Yep.
Much like a Thomas Kincaid painting, a beacon in the forest.
Painter of light, Thomas Kincaid. Painter
overnight
of light.
Midnight to 5 a.m. Some people's trash, other people's kingdom.
Now, when you...
Don Valley.
Jesus.
You're listening to 108.9 The Hawk.
Yeah, hey.
It's not my radio show, but...
It's not your show. This is really hard we do it. We do our part now, Don.
You get some things in your muscle memory there.
You just can't get rid of it, can you?
Sometimes I go to visit a doctor. I get one of my checkups here. I'm a little older than I used to be. Stopped smoking on paper. I stopped smoking on paper 8 years ago.
Right, on paper.
As far as the paper trail says, I don't smoke anymore in the last 8 years, I'll tell you.
You seeing Dr. Jimmy? Because that's my doctor here in Valverde. Are you seeing Jimmy?
Yeah, I don't see Jimmy. I see the guy that taught Jimmy how to hit a knee with a hammer. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what.
I know exactly. I didn't know that guy was still alive.
I go down for one of my routine checkups on my voice box and my callback reflexes. Uh-huh. And he says, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What are the symptoms? And I go straight into it. 108.9 The Hawk. You're listening to Don Valley overnights, midnight to 5 a.m. It's a time slot that happens between.
Yes.
You would think midnight and 5 a.m., but due to the, there's certain vagaries that happen in the radio business, as you're well aware of. You take a commercial break or something, of course, and so you're usually on at 12:06.
Don. Yeah.
12:06 because we cram all those commercials at the top of the hour, the bottom of the hour, and occasionally every 20 minutes in between.
That's the clock, baby. That's the radio clock. 20, 40, 50 on the hour. We know it, Don. We know.
So you're starting midnight. You're starting at 12:06. The kids out there, they're listening. They're tuned in. They're wondering, when's the tull coming on?
Like all the kids are asking.
Every kid I see out there at Valverde High School, they're just walking around, hands in the air, like, where's the tull coming on? And I'm like, I can't tell you because, we don't get to play as much tull in the morning as we'd like to. But listen to Don Valley. He's going to play it every other song.
And our message to those wanderers in the dark is that Don Valley is here midnights, overnight, 5 a.m. from the hour of midnight.
Yeah, no. We totally covered that, Don.
Yeah,
we
have like a wizard on the path.
I even wrote it here.
Infamous Led Zeppelin cover. God. Standing on the precipice like Gandalf with a lantern to which the listeners will flock. That's the Don Valley Promise. That's the Hawk 108.9.
That is the Hawk. And
the overnight time slot from midnight, goddammit, or 6 minutes after to 5 a.m. or whenever the news crew decides to show up. And in this case, well, they made me do an extra hour, so I told them double time, I'll tell you that.
Blame that on Willie Crystal, because he gets the 5 to 6 a.m. hour at 88.88. He's back. He's wonderful. Now, Don, you are here on the Geoff and Whisp Show, 108.9, The Hawk, the Valley's answer for classic.
What a true honor it is. What a true, after a 55-year career in radio.
To
be able to come here and be across the glass from two beautiful boys like you.
Only
beautiful boys.
15 years more than Wisp, but
you're only like 15 years older than me. So, I'll take it, though. I don't hear it very often. Now, I will say that...
Consider yourself carded, Wisp.
I swear I'm 21.
That's something we do in the overnight slot, midnight to 5 a.m. very often. We're broadcasting during last call at a number of the bars.
100%. Yep.
Both in Valverde and some of the outlying communities and counties out there. The last call happens at 1 a.m. Out in the city, and it happens at 2 a.m. out in the sticks.
Except
sticks, we've got sticks coming up right here.
No, we don't, Scotty. Do not fire sticks. We don't have any sticks coming up.
One thing that happened, I haven't had a drip of alcohol on paper in the last 12 years.
On paper,
I don't drink anymore. On the radio, but I'm off the clock right now. But one thing I do is I call out the last call and I suggest a few things that those kids should be drinking out there.
Okay, let's pretend it is 1:50 in the morning right now, Don Valley, and you know that Shooter's Bar and Buffet is, Warren just got off stage and they're about to say, we're done for the night, get out of here before a real shooting happens. How would you tell those fine folks at Shooter's Bar and Buffet that it's last call?
Yeah. Well, you were just too late. It's 10 minutes before the hour here on 108.9 The Hawk. You're listening to Don Valley. You were just listening to, of course, Steely Dan, and before that we had Jethro Tull. As you know, it's 1:50 in the morning. That's an hour and 50 minutes, nearly 2 hours after midnight when we start the overnight show until 5 a.m. And as you know, that means it's last call at some of the most fabulous establishments, whether it's Shooter's Bar and or Buffet in the Valverde Greater area. And of course, as you know, it's last call for alcohol. As you may know and be a little bit grumpy and upset about is that long ago, they stopped serving food in the kitchen. And that's a beef that I've had at many different places that are listed on Yelp. And it says it's open till 2 a.m. And you get there and you go, can I have a grilled cheese? It says you got it on the website. And they say, sorry, the kitchen closed 3 hours ago. And that's why we're still pushing that petition to any listeners out there to have Yelp and other websites like it legally required to say when their goddamn kitchen opens, because you go in hungry ahead of your 5-hour radio shift from midnight to 5 a.m. the overnight slot.
The time,
the Magru got
I kind of understand now why you have time for just Peg and Aqualung, because you're literally just telling the folks what it is between those two songs. Your breaks are probably about 20 minutes long each.
Are you worried that your listeners are just zoning out so much? Because it's 12 to 5, just the freaks are out at night, and you just have to remind them where they are and what is going on.
Do you ever worry about the freaks out at night, Don Valley? Yeah, we're laughing.
We are laughing.
Good. I'm getting it from both ends from these two morning show clowns. Let me tell you guys something. I don't have an audience that tunes out. I've got an audience that tunes in.
There we go.
They've got very little else that's catering to their needs and their wants and their desires and their dreams in the dreaming hour.
It's like I'm talking to Timmy Leary here, one of my good best friends in the world, Timmy Leary. It's like I haven't heard the old tune out, tune in quite some time, but also I didn't listen at 2 a.m. this morning when you apparently, a note from Scotty here, went on for a good hour and 20 minutes about tuning in and tuning out.
Wow. Well, I'll do it for you right now. Let me tell you, Wisp, and I this is also directed to Jeff there. Let me tell you something. When you're at 2 a.m., and you're a broadcaster like Don Valley, and you've got a 5-hour slot from the overnight time slot from midnight to 5 a.m. on 108.9 The Hawk.
108.9
2 a.m., you're not even halfway through. The halfway mark. Now, it's an odd number of hours, so it's not logical for most people's minds to keep it in their mind. It's not going to be on the hour that you're doing that halfway point mark, where you gotta play the national anthem. You're gonna do it once per show, and I'm trying to do it right halfway during the damn middle of it. And you know when that falls? That falls at 2:30 in the morning. That's half an hour after last call. That's 40 minutes after you announced it. That's it's 30 minutes past the hour, 40 minutes past the last call.
Guess what that
That's the time when you've got people are doing a shuffle. You know what I'm talking about? They're doing a shuffle. They're getting in their cars after there's all these designated drivers out there that have not had a drink at the bar, and they're all getting in their cars at the same time.
Wait a second. In Valverde, are we right?
I tell you, I haven't had a drink.
On paper, they're designated.
On paper, they are designated.
I haven't had a drink in 12 years on paper, and let me tell you something. Sometimes you get knocked out of the game because you plow into a school bus that's headed to pick up kids after 5 a.m. because you got the early morning rush just like you guys do.
Yeah, I'm reading about that right now, and you went right. You were in a 1986 Chevrolet Caprice Classic, and you went right into that bus. And that's when, on paper, you were no longer
on paper, it says it just was an insurance convention, but in real life, it sounds horrific.
There's certain workarounds. Let me tell you, Jeff. There's a few workarounds when you get to that place, and you can no longer salute the ice in the glass.
Well, I do have to say,
you're getting ready for your show, and what you got to do in that case is you got to do a little workaround. You got to assess your life and say, well, I'm blessed and I'm lucky that there was no little first graders on that bus when I plowed into it. There was just a bus driver and half a bus full of bus driver trainees.
Oh, okay.
And that's all it was.
Got the wrong information.
And luckily, they rolled into a very safe ditch. And there was no fatalities, but you got to take a look at your own life, and you got to say, I got to take control and take responsibility for what I'm doing in this life. And that's when you find a place closer to the station, 108.9, The Hawk.
Yes, Yep, Don. And speaking of taking responsibility, we want you to hang out for a little bit. I got some questions that Police Chief Pizzola called in that he wanted me to specifically ask you on the air. We're going to ask
on paper, it was just bus trainees.
Right. 20 minutes before the hour, 40 minutes after the hour, you're listening to 108.9, The Hawk.
Okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. Hey, we'll be back with more Don Valley here in a second. But right now, she programmed it from the Hawk to a girl. She wanted to hear it. It's Hulk Hogan's cover of Pink Moon on 108.9 The Hawk.
Saw it written and I saw it say, brother. Pink Moon, it's on its way, brother. And none of you stand so tall, brother.
Tom Kiefer's Ghost Blowing Creepers! Hi, this is Tom Kiefer. You know me as the singer of Cinderella and from my successful line of leaf blowers and snow blowers. But you've probably been thinking, hey Tom, it's spooky season, and whenever you sing scream, it kind of freaks me out. How can I use that to my advantage for decorating for Halloween? Well, I tell you, Tom Kiefer is nobody's fool when it comes to repurposing my already existing products. That's why I've invented Tom Kiefer's Ghost Blowing Creepers. That's right, one of those giant blowing Halloween decorations for your front lawn. But instead of being a ghosty or a ghoulie, it's a giant replica of me, Tom Kiefer, in tube ghost form. And due to my patented Tom Kiefer blowing technology, I can freak out all the trick-or-treaters at your house, cause it will also be screaming, shake me! Oh, Halloween night! Shake me! So go down to your local True Value hardware store and pick up a Tom Kiefer's Ghost Blowing Creeper and really freak out your neighbors.
Good variety, buffets galore, and a staff that just leaves me wanting more. They've got a really good burger, but, I've been doing the buffets a little bit more lately, and Sharnie's tops them all. God, try the potatoes.
Oh, I don't eat anywhere else. I only eat at Sharnie's. Variety is king. Variety will make this world continue to turn and turn and turn. And if you look at it like that, Sharnie's will make the world turn and turn and turn.
I have a coupon. Yeah, I'm eating here because I have a coupon. It says Wisp Turlington, 1 free buffet slurp at Sharnie's, and that's why I'm here. Wait, what? I still have to pay? Oh, you got me, my Sharnie, because truly...
No one eats for free at Charlie's.
Oh my God, Jack Bruce, Ginger Baker, Eric Clapton, some of my best friends in the entire world. 2 of them dead, 1 still living.
One is
Cream
more
on
alive than
108.9
maybe you
The
want
Hook.
him to be alive.
One's a little more alive than you want him to be, but of course that is 2 from Cream. We heard Tales of Brave Ulysses. I always have a hard time saying that. I say Luises. But it's
The
Tales of
Hawk
Brave.
girl always calls it you Lewis.
She knows what she wants. Every Hawk 2 for Tuesday. We're doing Hawk 2 for Tuesday, and we have to play this goddamn thing.
This is 108.9 The Hawk too,
Okay,
girl.
that's enough. We heard it, Scotty. Okay, we are still here with Don Valley, and sir. Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Doing this morning radio hour, it takes me back. It really does take me back to the tap out back in Orlando, 108.8. And I could tell you that was a fantastic gig. And it ended tragically when there was a locked door fire that broke out. It was just about right before the 10 a.m. hour.
Are you kidding? So you're saying at another fire,
a completely
at another
separate
radio station?
Let me tell you something about overnight radio.
No, Don. We've heard everything about overnight radio. We would like to learn.
When the hands of the clock stand on end.
My God.
Until 5 a.m. when there's.
I don't know what happened. There we go.
My God, we lost it.
Scotty took the feed down.
Scotty was like,
I don't know what that was.
Stop talking about this.
Let me tell you something about that midnight to 5 a.m.
No, we get it, Don. You don't need to.
Midnight when the clock hands stand upright till 5 a.m. when there's an acute angle in the northeast quadrant telling you, hey, it's
where were you when Slidman was pointing at the key in the door at AM 1130? The hit parader. That is a question from Chief Pizzola.
Chief Pizzola, one of the best cops we got in Valverde.
One of the best cops in Valverde. Slidman was pointing at the key in the door. Now, they do see that the key was in the door because that didn't burn up.
Let me tell you something, and I guess I'm going to talk through you, Wisp, right to Pizzola.
Puppet me, man. Puppet me.
Let me talk to Pizzola. I'm talking to you as if I'm talking to Pizzola because I'm assuming he's listening here.
Then I'll pretend to be Pizzola, okay? 3,
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about freeform rock and roll radio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let me tell you something. It starts at midnight and it goes till 5 a.m. That's when the rules don't apply.
Then why didn't you turn the key?
You don't have evidence of that. And we went over that with the grand jury investigation, and all charges the charges were dropped. You understand? District attorney didn't even bring charges.
Slidman survived, sir. Slidman survived.
Let me tell you something, you ignorant pig. There is no video evidence in a radio program. And unfortunately, the security cameras were glossed over.
He's really got you there, honestly, Pizzola.
With some mayonnaise and some peanut butter. And nobody knows when those cameras went down. And other than that, you're dealing with a purely audio format. Real radio.
Well,
rock and roll freeform radio predates MTV. And it's video debauchery.
We actually
do peanut butter on those cameras, so we did not see it.
Jeff. I'm sorry to inform you, there was no video. Just maybe the legend has it that the radio star killed the video.
Oh my God, we just got buggled. We got fucking buggled on the Geoff and Whisp show, 108.9 The Hawk. We do have a recording that did survive the fire of Slidman at the hit parader, AM 1130, the hit parader. Let's hear that now. Okay, so that's a glass breaking.
Yeah. I'm guessing someone trying to break through the glass on the door.
That's a foghorn. I have no idea why there was a foghorn there, but
I'll tell you exactly why. As someone who worked in radio for many years, and many years in the midnight to 5 a.m. time slot overnights, there's dead air sometimes, and you got to cover that. You got to cover that by talking through it, and you got to have that soundboard at your fingers.
Wait.
So if there was audio evidence, it may have very well been covered up very quickly by some ample quick thinking usage of that soundboard.
But
And
hold on, Don. I have to interrupt you. I hate to interrupt you because you are a legend.
You're
You
a radio legend.
You
Jeff.
do use
Yes.
a foghorn a lot during your shift. Some would say it's your signature sound. So if that's the glass breaking at 11:30 a.m., the hit parader, that is Slidman breaking the glass.
You know what? I'm gonna
And then
explain this to
the
you.
horn means you're still there watching him.
And
All
I
right,
gotta
you know what?
say,
You're a young guy.
I
You
also
should switch to a true crime podcast with that kind of Sherlock Holmes.
If I wanted more money, I totally would, Don.
I will say I
totally
wasn't listening to
would.
a true crime podcast, but I was listening to the audio tapes from the grand jury trial on some real messed up websites I go on.
Yep.
And there was a lot of foghorn.
There's so
happening
much
during the
foghorn.
grand jury trial. It seemed like at one point the judge just gave up and just said, "Fine, let it not go to trial." But I couldn't hear completely over the foghorn, and somebody kept saying 12 midnight to 5 a.m.
Well, you know
Over
what?
and over and over.
I've got this. I've been, during your breaks, I've been reading these newspapers here, and I got a nice pile of crisp, dry newspapers right here in the other room.
Okay.
And let me answer your question real quick, Wisp, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me find that lighter I was looking for.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Let me, if you could play that foghorn for me, Wisp. Play the foghorn for me.
Scotty, play the foghorn. He's a legend.
tell
He
you-
gets
I'll
whatever
tell
he
you what it
wants.
sounds like. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the foghorn in the dark. The beacon from the lighthouse.
My fucking lights went out.
The ships lost at sea have found their way to the overnights. Midnight to 5 a.m. with Don Valley here on 108.9.
Jeff, there are flames in here.
I'm not seeing them. I'm
Jesus
feeling them and
Christ.
smelling them. And nope, now I think I'm seeing them.
I'm
People
seeing
have a little
and
bit of
smelling them.
respect for the overnight time slot, midnight to 5 a.m., because they don't understand the kind of power that comes with being alone in a radio station for 55 years.
All right, Wisp, go get the key.
I'm
Go for the
gonna
key.
go get the key. If I can reach through this glass to get the key.
You gotta
Will-
break the glass.
10 minutes before the hour. of
Scotty,
7 a.m.
open the door, Scotty.
And
Open
yet
the
somehow-
goddamn door.
The Madrugana has triumphed over the day.
Oh my
Midnight to
God.
5 a.m. Late nights, overnights, Don Valley.
Wisp! John! Wisp! No!
I will tell you, I don't think we've had an episode where Wisp and Jeff die at the end. Or not. This is the first
We don't know.
major cliffhanger on an episode of 108.9 The Hawk. James Adomian, welcome to The Hawk. Thank you so much for doing this. This was amazing. This was so much fun. It's always fun to have someone else just doing something radio related on the show. Because a lot of people will come on and they'll play like people that own businesses in Valverde or like classic rock people. But it's always fun to have just like a pure ass radio episode.
I love it.
And I've worked with so many because I worked in classic rock radio and talk radio for over 10 years.
Yeah, you did.
Until I realized I can't get paid doing this. And it is so like they get locked in such a loop where they do repeat so much all the time, especially on talk radio. They'll do the same little bits over and over, like, and they'll think of it as like, I just came up with that bit. And you're like, no, you just did that bit 20 minutes ago. Like, I don't what's happening with time here. So to feel Don Valley doing that in real time and to feel like Wisp is usually very much a villain. Like he has droned a lot of people. He has like, he's classic rock
Blown up my
radio's biggest
favorite
villain.
restaurant many times. Just
But to like,
pissed off.
for him to just be in a place where he's like, I don't know what to do, Jeff. I can't save you was very fun. So much fun. And
yeah, I used to be. I don't think I worked in radio. I've been a guest on a few radio shows over the years. I was a huge radio fan when I was a teenager here in Los Angeles, where it was big.
Yeah.
The radio culture still is big, but it's not as big as the heyday.
Yeah.
Which I kind of was listening during the tail end of. I like the music and I listen to talk radio too, but I came to listen to the personalities. I guess satellite radio killed a lot of that slowly, but it's still, some of it's out there.
Yeah. And
it's a fun world when you get into listening to it and when you really feel like, oh, this guy is up all night and he's alone. He's alone, except for the fact that he knows that some weirdo like me is listening.
and especially with like shows like Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah.
Where like Art Bell or George Norrie's sitting there and they don't have a guest or their guest hasn't shown up and they're just having to like stretch until this like weirdo comes on and then vanishes.
Even when Camper, what was his name? The evangelist who thought the world was going to die?
Yes.
When he would, because he was on New York all the time, but I would try to listen for a while and I was just like, you're just talking.
Yeah,
you're not saying anything.
Talking.
You're just
Did you ever hear Phil Hendry's impression of Art Bell?
Yes.
Where he would have the ABBA song Dancing Queen come in and then talk over almost the full length of the song.
Yes.
And he'd be like, you're listening. And he would do all the voices.
Yes.
Listening to Art Bell.
My God.
West of the Rockies. He would go the different phone numbers. West of the Rockies, the phone number. East of the Rockies. Then he would go north of the Rockies. South of the Rockies.
Oh my God. I guess living here in LA, you had Hendry here. Like,
yes, we did.
KFI, man.
There's times I remember that was one of them, like being in the car and having to pull over, or like being in like a room in my college where I was working on something by myself, listening to Phil Hendry, and then just like actually falling on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Because he's playing some character. And like
just,
Art Bell or whatever. And like, Phil, Phil, let me tell you, Phil.
Oh, the absolute best. And
Phil, the cat put a cigarette out on the other cat's ass.
I've talked to Phil about coming on, and he was like, I'll check out the show and see.
Oh yeah, he would have a blast.
He would have such a good time. I'm going to hit him up again. I love Phil so much. And I saw that you had liked a post of that. I'm like, James is the best. He loves Phil too, because Phil's doing the show coming up, I think.
Yeah,
doing a live show. So
I think he's got a run of it.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I got to see that.
I'm lucky. I've been doing live comedy enough that I've run into Phil Hendry a couple times. He was friends with Brody Stevens, I guess. Then came to follow me and asked me to do one of his shows. And then like I've done 3 or 4 shows with Phil Hendry over the last like 6 or 7 years. And I love the guy. I love every time I get to see him.
Oh, he's the best. He's just, there would be no 108.9 The Hawk without Phil Hendry, because that's like such a huge influence on me. And especially when I was doing radio, it was like, oh, radio can be fun and do like that type of thing. It's amazing.
The times when I will tune into the radio now. And I'm just like, what are you doing on this?
I love
5-minute conversation about licorice.
Yeah.
Or something that they're not invested in.
No.
But they have to be.
They're filling fucking time.
To fill time.
That's
on the
all
drive.
it is. They're just filling time. You have a new special out.
Yes, I do.
Which is called The Path of Most Resistance?
That's right. It's Path of Most Resistance, and it's out to pay what you want on 800-pound gorilla media.com. All the information is on my website, jamesadomian.com. And as of September 19th, it's available everywhere for rent, for purchase, rent to own to rent. You can stream it. And most importantly, you can watch it and you can have a good time. It's pretty funny. It's pretty, it's not that. You know what? I take everything back. Path of Most Resistance.
Path of Most Resistance. That's amazing. And you just started putting up your Marin videos on your YouTube too, I noticed.
Yes, I was obeying the whims of the algorithm, and it was like post every day, and I was like, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to find shit that I did over the years.
Right. No, it's so good to see.
That was lost to the internet. The website disappeared. Funny or Die. Yeah. A lot of stuff on Funny or Die went away, and there's a lot of stuff like that that's kind of going away. And so I had a little project this summer where I was trying to rescue things that were no longer on the internet, and we didn't find everything, but we found a few things, and so some of that has been getting uploaded to the internet.
That's a big chunk of how it's just like, the UCB videos we did will be gone, or this above average thing will be gone, and then oftentimes we'll repopulate it into this, because we're like, okay, this works in radio, but it is a constant battle of like, how do we bring this thing back that just disappeared one day?
There's a lot of there's a lot of work out there coming up in the next 10 to 20 years for people who are young and able to figure out wires that connect to hard drives that
100%.
don't exist anymore.
Oh God, yes.
Like rescuing footage from hard drives of elder creators.
Yeah, the CISO servers. You know, they can
I was
crack into
just
the CISO
complaining yesterday.
servers.
It's like, I just need a fire wire in a dongle for this hard drive.
Well, James, this was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's a completely different episode than what we usually do on the Hawk. So it was very cool to do, to start off with Don Valley and then to have Don Valley maybe kill Geoff and Whisp. We'll find out next episode, guys.
Thank you. What a treat.